Welcome to ListLab. Today we're counting down 10 historical mysteries that may already have convincing explanations. These cases puzzled investigators and historians for generations, but modern research has brought many of them closer to resolution. Let's begin the countdown. Number 10. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In 1959, 9 experienced hikers died mysteriously on the slopes of a remote Ural mountain. Their tent was found torn open from the inside, and some of the bodies were discovered in light clothing despite the freezing conditions. For decades, theories ranged from secret weapons tests to supernatural forces. However, recent scientific studies have pointed toward a natural explanation. Researchers now believe a rare slab avalanche struck the campsite during the night. The avalanche would have damaged the tent and forced the hikers to flee quickly into the cold darkness. Computer simulations have shown how shifting snow and strong winds could have created such an event. This explanation also fits the unusual injuries found on some of the bodies. While not every detail is certain, many experts now consider a small avalanche the most likely cause of the tragedy. Number 9. The Mary Celeste's abandoned voyage. In 1872, the merchant ship Mary Celeste was discovered drifting in the Atlantic Ocean with no one aboard. The cargo was intact, the sails were set, and there were no signs of struggle. The crew, the captain, and even his family had vanished without a trace. For years, stories of sea monsters, piracy, and paranormal events surrounded the case. Modern analysis has offered a more practical explanation. The ship was carrying barrels of industrial alcohol, some of which were leaking fumes into the hold. These vapors could have created the risk of an explosion. It is believed the captain ordered a temporary evacuation into the lifeboat as a precaution. If the lifeboat drifted away or the tow line snapped, the crew would have been left at sea. Experiments have shown that alcohol vapor explosions can occur without leaving obvious burn marks. This theory now stands as the most widely accepted explanation for the ghost ship. Number 8. The disappearance of the Roanoke Colony. In the late 1500s, England's first American colony vanished from Roanoke Island. When the governor returned from a supply trip, he found the settlement deserted. The only clue was the word Crowan, carved into a post. For centuries, historians debated whether the colonists had been killed, starved, or captured. Modern archaeology has provided new insights. Excavations on nearby Hatteras Island have uncovered English tools and metalworking debris. These items were found within Native American settlement layers. Since local tribes did not use this technology, it strongly suggests English settlers lived among them. Historical records also mention sightings of Europeans living with local tribes years later. Many historians now believe the colonists simply relocated and integrated into indigenous communities. Rather than a sudden disappearance, the colony may have quietly merged into the surrounding culture. Number 7. The Princes in the Tower. In 1483, the young King Edward V and his brother Richard were placed in the Tower of London. Their uncle, Richard III, soon took the throne. The boys were seen less and less until they vanished completely. Most people at the time assumed they had been murdered. For centuries, Richard III was widely blamed for the crime. Modern historians, however, take a more cautious approach. They point out that several powerful figures had motives to remove the princes. Henry Tudor, who later became Henry VII, also stood to benefit. The Duke of Buckingham and other nobles have been suggested as possible culprits. There is still no definitive evidence proving who was responsible. Today, the mystery is viewed as more complex than the simple story of one villain. Number 6. The identity of the man in the iron mask. During the reign of Louis XIV, a mysterious prisoner was held in secret for decades. He was forced to wear a mask, which later inspired legends about royal twins and hidden heirs. Writers like Voltaire and Alexandre Dumas turned the story into popular fiction. Modern historians, however, have uncovered more likely explanations. Records suggest the prisoner was a man named Eustache Doge. He was a servant connected to political intrigue and high-level scandals. Dorga was arrested on royal orders and moved between several prisons under heavy guard. The secrecy around him was likely due to sensitive information he possessed. Once his master died, he remained imprisoned to keep those secrets hidden. Most scholars now agree he was not a royal at all, but a political prisoner whose identity had to remain concealed. Number 5. The Lost Franklin Expedition. In 1845, Sir John Frankton set out to chart the Northwest Passage with 2 ships and 129 men. The expedition disappeared in the Arctic and was never heard from again. For decades, search parties found only scattered clues. Modern archaeology and forensic science have provided a clearer picture. The ships became trapped in ice, leaving the crew stranded. Evidence from bones shows signs of starvation, disease, and even cannibalism. High levels of lead have also been found in remains and equipment. This likely came from poorly sealed food tins and may have weakened the men. Combined with freezing temperatures and scurvy, the conditions were deadly. Historians now believe the crew died slowly from multiple hardships rather than a single disaster. Number 4. The death of King Tutankhamun. When the tomb of Tutankhamun was opened in 1922, rumors spread that the young king had been murdered. He died at just 19 years old, and early examinations seemed to show a skull injury. This led to stories of palace conspiracies and assassins. Modern medical scans have changed that view. CT imaging shows the supposed skull fracture was likely caused after death. Instead, researchers found evidence of a severe leg injury. This injury may have become infected, possibly alongside malaria. Genetic studies also suggest the king suffered from various health problems. These conditions would have made recovery difficult. Most experts now believe Tutankhamun died from illness and injury rather than foul play. Number 3. The Vanishing of the Sodder Children. On Christmas Eve in 1945, a fire destroyed the Sodder family home in West Virginia. 5 of the children were believed to have died in the blaze. Strangely, no remains were ever found in the ashes. The family suspected something more sinister had happened. George Sodder had openly criticized the Italian dictator Mussolini. Shortly before the fire, he received threats from individuals angered by his comments. The family later believed the fire had been set deliberately. They also suspected the children were kidnapped rather than killed. Years later, they received a photograph of a man resembling one of the missing boys. Although no final proof was ever found, many investigators think the case involved arson and abduction. Number 2. The fate of the 9th Roman Legion. The 9th Legion of Rome seemed to disappear from history in the early 2nd century. For years, it was believed the legion was destroyed in Britain during a revolt. This story became popular in books and films. Archaeological evidence has told a different story. Inscriptions and brick stamps have been found in the Netherlands dating after the legion supposedly vanished. These finds show the legion was stationed on the Rhine frontier. This suggests it left Britain intact rather than being wiped out. After this period, the legion disappears from records entirely. Historians now think it was transferred east and later disbanded or destroyed elsewhere. Number 1. The Identity of Jack the Ripper. The series of murders in Whitechapel in 1888 created one of history's most famous mysteries. Despite intense investigation, the killer was never officially identified. Many suspects were proposed over the years. One of the most discussed in modern times is Aaron Kosminski, a local barber. Police at the time considered him a strong suspect. In recent years, claims have emerged that DNA evidence linked him to one of the victims. However, these claims remain controversial among experts. Questions about the evidence and testing methods have cast doubt on the results. While Kosminski remains a popular suspect, the case is still officially unsolved. Which of these mysteries do you think has the most convincing explanation? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more countdowns from ListLab.